I, 32 male, have been married to my wife for 3 years. Before yesterday, I thought we were just navigating a rough patch, typical marriage stuff. Today, I know I was just a bankroll for her exit strategy. I'm a general contractor. I built my business from the ground up, literally. I work hard, I make good money, and I own my house, a place I bought 5 years before I even met my wife. My friends are guys I've known since kindergarten. One is a corporate attorney, let's call him lawyer friend, and the other runs a cybersecurity firm, tech friend. They aren't rowdy frat boys. They are successful, intelligent men who have had my back through every scrape in life. My wife has always had a problem with them. At first, it was subtle. She'd sigh when I said I was grabbing a beer with lawyer friend. She'd make passive-aggressive comments about tech friend being too intense. But over the last 6 months, her disdain morphed into open hostility. She started claiming they were disrespectful to her, that they encouraged my toxic masculinity, and that they were holding me back from elevating to her social circle's level. Her social circle, for the record, consists of people who think vision boards constitute a career plan, and that manifesting is a valid way to pay a mortgage. The tension culminated yesterday morning. I was in the kitchen, pouring coffee, getting ready to head to a job site. My wife walked in, fully dressed for her 10 a.m. power yoga session. She didn't say good morning. She slammed a manicured hand on the granite island. "We need to talk," she said. Her tone wasn't sad, it was authoritative, like she was disciplining a toddler. "I'm done. I can't do this anymore with those losers hanging around. They are a bad influence on you. They make you cynical, and quite frankly, I don't feel safe with that kind of negative energy in my house." I stared at her. Safe? Lawyer friend helped us with the prenup. Tech friend set up our home security. What are you talking about? See? You defend them instantly, she snapped, crossing her arms. I've done the work. I've been manifesting a higher vibration for us. But you're anchored down by them. So here's the reality. It's your friends or me. Choose now. I'm not spending another night in a marriage where I come second to a drinking buddy. She looked at me with this smug expectation. She knew I loved her. She knew I hated conflict. She expected me to fold, apologize, and promise to cut them off. It was a power play, pure and simple. She wanted total isolation. But something in my gut turned cold. It wasn't fear. It was clarity. I looked at her, really looked at her. I saw the entitlement etched into her expression. I saw the brand new designer bag sitting on the counter, bought with a credit card I pay off every month. I saw a woman who contributed zero to the mortgage but demanded veto power over the people who helped me pay for it. You're right, I said, keeping my voice dead even. I can't have both. I need to make a choice. Her face softened into a triumphant smirk. I knew you'd see it my way, babe. Good. I'm going to yoga. When I get back, I wanted to text them and cut ties. Make it clear. I will, I said. Go to yoga. We'll handle everything when you get back. She kissed my cheek, a reward for my obedience, and breezed out the door. The moment her Mercedes, leased in my name, rounded the corner, I pulled out my phone. I didn't text them to cut ties. I created a group chat with lawyer friend and tech friend. Me! Code red. She gave the ultimatum. It's you guys or her. Lawyer friend. Please tell me you didn't cave. Me. I told her I'd make a choice. Come over. Bring the truck. And tech friend? Bring your laptop. I need you to dig. Now. They were at my door in 20 minutes. I explained the situation. Lawyer friend, usually the calmest guy in the room, looked furious. He explained that an ultimatum is often the last step of alienation. She was isolating me. He asked what changed in the last 2 weeks. I told him nothing, just her spending. She had been withdrawing more cash than usual for coaching sessions. Tech friend cracked his knuckles and opened his laptop on my dining table. He asked for the Wi-Fi and passwords, saying that if she was treating me like an ATM and cutting off my support system, there was a reason. People don't secure the perimeter unless they're hiding something inside. While tech friend went to work on the digital footprint, lawyer friend and I started on the physical. Lawyer friend shifted into full attorney mode. He reminded me that this was my premarital home, and the deed was in my name only. The prenup waived her rights to the property upon separation. But he warned we couldn't just throw her out without cause unless we wanted a messy illegal eviction suit. We needed leverage. We needed a reason that made her want to leave, or a safety threat that granted me an immediate protective order. I don't have a safety threat, I said, grabbing a box. She's just entitled. Wait, tech friend said from the table. His voice dropped. Come look at this. I walked over. He had pulled up the joint bank account statements, but he had cross-referenced them with a geolocation history from the iPad she left linked to our cloud. She's not at yoga, tech friend said, pointing to a cluster of GPS pings. She's in an apartment complex on the north side. The coaching payments? They aren't going to a life coach. They're going to a Shell LLC registered to a guy named Trent. And look at this transfer. He pointed to a withdrawal from our emergency savings, $15,000, made 3 days ago. She forged your signature on a cashier's check request, tech friend said. Digital signature matches hers, not yours. That's felony fraud. Lawyer friend looked at the screen, then at me. That's it. That's the trigger. Dissipation of marital assets and fraud. We can file for an emergency hearing for exclusive possession of the marital residence in our state. If one spouse is looting the estate, the judge can boot them to stop the bleeding, especially since she clearly has somewhere else to go. I felt the blood rushing in my ears. The bad influence. Friend she hated were the only reason I wasn't going to be homeless in 6 months. Pack it up, I told them. Pack it all. The next 3 hours were a blur of calculated chaos. We operated with military precision. Lawyer friend was on the phone with a judge, expediting the emergency motion for exclusive possession of the residence. He framed it perfectly. Undeniable evidence of substantial financial theft, the $15,000 forgery, and the potential for further dissipation of assets if she remained in the home with access to valuables. Since the house was my separate property and she was currently at another residence, Trent's apartment, the judge granted the ex parte order. That means my wife didn't need to be there to hear it. The order gave me temporary sole possession and ordered her to stay 100 yards away until the full hearing. While lawyer friend handled the law, tech friend and I handled the logistics. We didn't throw her clothes on the lawn. That's amateur hour and gives the other side ammunition in court. We packed her belongings into professional moving boxes. Clothes, shoes, the expensive hairdryer, her collection of crystals, everything. We staged them in the garage, labeled and stacked. As I was clearing out her nightstand, I found a burner phone taped to the underside of the drawer. Tech friend snagged it, plugged it into his rig, and bypassed the simple 4-digit passcode in seconds. It was a treasure trove. Text between her and Trent. Wife, he's so stupid. He actually thinks I'm trying to fix him. Once I get him to cut off the lawyer friend, we can move on the business accounts. Trent, just make sure you get his signature on the HELIC, home equity line of credit, before you dump him. Wife, working on it. Gave him the ultimatum today. He'll fold. He always does. I read the text and felt a strange calm wash over me. The sadness was gone. The betrayal had cauterized the wound instantly. This wasn't a marriage. It was a long con. She was going to leverage the house, make me take out a loan against the equity, give her the cash, and then leave me with the debt. Predatory. Lawyer friend muttered, taking photos of the screen for evidence. This is gold. This proves premeditated fraud. We aren't just getting a divorce. We're going to bury her under criminal liability if she tries to fight for a cent. By 1 p.m., the house was sanitized of her presence. The garage was full of her boxes. Then the locksmith arrived. I had called a guy I use for my construction sites. He rekeyed the entire perimeter, front door, back door, garage code reset. We even updated the Wi-Fi credentials, so her phone wouldn't auto-connect when she pulled in. She's moving, tech friend said, watching the GPS on his screen. She's leaving Trent's. ETA 20 minutes. Perfect, I said. Let's set the stage. I didn't want to be hiding. I didn't want to be shouting through a door. I wanted her to see exactly what she had thrown away. We went to the living room. This was her sanctuary. She never let the guys sit in here because she didn't want them messing up the vibe. It had expensive cream-colored couches and a glass coffee table. I went to the kitchen and grabbed 3 cold beers and a bottle of expensive bourbon. Her expensive bourbon that she bought with my money for special occasions. We sat down. I took the recliner. Lawyer friend and tech friend took the cream couch. We put our boots up on the coffee table, something she would have screamed at. To clarity, I said, raising my glass. To the trash taking itself out. Lawyer friend toasted. To the Find My iPhone feature, tech friend added, clinking his beer against mine. We waited. The silence of the house was heavy, but it wasn't lonely. It felt like I had reclaimed my territory. At 1:25 p.m., the garage door didn't open. I heard the whir of the motor trying to engage, but I had locked the mechanism from the inside. Then silence. She was probably confused, trying to remote again. Then the front door handle jiggled. The deadbolt held firm. Then came the pounding. Op, op. The door is stuck. Her voice was muffled, but rising in pitch. Let me in. It's freezing out here. I took a slow sip of bourbon. I looked at lawyer friend. He nodded. I stood up and walked to the front door. I didn't open it immediately. I looked through the side glass. She was standing there with her yoga mat, looking annoyed, checking her phone. I unlocked the deadbolt and opened the door. She moved to push past me, but I stepped into the frame, blocking her path. What is wrong with you? She huffed, trying to shove me. Why is the lock changed? And why is... She looked past me and saw lawyer friend and tech friend sitting on the cream couch, boots on the table, drinking her bourbon. Her face went purple. I told you to get rid of them. What are they doing in my house? They're helping me, I said calmly. You told me to make a choice. Friends or you. And, she screeched, I chose. I reached behind the door and picked up the large manila envelope lawyer friend had prepared. I shoved it into her chest. She instinctively grabbed it. What is this? That is a copy of the ex parte order for exclusive possession of property. I said, my voice projecting so the neighbors could hear. It means you don't live here anymore. It also contains a copy of the divorce petition, citing adultery and fraud. She laughed, a nervous, incredulous laugh. You're joking. You can't kick me out. I have rights. This is my house, too. Actually, lawyer friend called out from the couch, not even turning his head. Under our state code, considering the home as premarital separate property, and you have demonstrated intent to defraud the marital estate. See the forging of the $15,000 check. The judge disagreed. You have nowhere to sleep here. I didn't forge anything, she screamed. We have the logs, tech friend chimed in. And the text to Trent. Tell him the helic didn't go through, by the way. The color drained from her face so fast she looked like a ghost. The mention of Trent was the kill shot. She knew we knew. My stuff, she whispered, her entitlement fracturing into panic. My clothes, my bag. In the garage, I said, pointing to the side door. I'll open the bay door for 10 minutes. You load your car. Anything left after 10 minutes goes to storage at your expense. If you step foot inside the main house, I call the police for violation of the court order. Officers are already on standby. She looked at me, eyes welling up with fake tears. She tried the manipulation tactic one last time. Baby, please. You're letting them brainwash you. We can talk about this. I love you. I looked at her. This woman who planned to bankrupt me and leave me for a guy named Trent. You don't love me, I said. You love the lifestyle I provide. And sadly for you, the bank is closed. The next 10 minutes were the most satisfying moments of my life. I pressed the button to open the garage door. My wife scrambled. She wasn't a composed, high-vibration yoga goddess anymore. She was frantic. She realized she couldn't fit everything in her Mercedes sedan. This won't fit, she screamed, hauling a box of shoes. You have to help me. Let me use your truck. Not a chance, I said, leaning against the doorframe, sipping my bourbon. She tried to recruit the neighbors. Mrs. Higgins next door was watching from her porch. My wife yelled that I was abusing her and throwing her out on the street. Mrs. Higgins, who had witnessed my wife berating me in the driveway for breathing too loud last week, just went back inside and closed her blinds. My wife managed to jam the trunk full and fill the back seat to the roof. She had to leave the Peloton and the larger furniture boxes. "I'll be back for the rest," she hissed, sweating, mascara running. "And my lawyer will destroy you. You think you're smart? You're just a bitter construction worker. I made you presentable. You made me broke. I corrected, and now I'm fixing it." As she reversed out of the driveway, scraping the bottom of the car because it was so overloaded, I felt a heavy weight lift off my chest. I closed the garage door. We went back inside. The adrenaline dump was real. My hands were shaking slightly. "You good?" Lawyer friend asked. "Yeah," I said. "I'm good. Just, I can't believe she was that calculated. Entitlement is a hell of a drug." Tech friend said. "She thought you were an NPC in her game. Man, she didn't think you had any agency." The legal war that followed over the next 3 months was brutal, but we were ready. She tried everything. She filed a counter motion claiming I was physically abusive. Lawyer friend decimated that in court by presenting the Nest camera footage, courtesy of Tech friend, showing her throwing a vase at me 2 months prior. Footage she thought she had deleted, but Tech friend recovered from the cloud backup. She tried to claim half the business. Lawyer friend brought in a forensic accountant who traced every dollar of her spending versus her contributions, zero. We proved she had siphoned over $40,000 in household expenses that actually went to Trent's gambling debts. But the real kicker, the interconnected twist that none of us saw coming, happened during the deposition. We were in the conference room. My wife was there with her lawyer, a strip mall guy who looked like he slept in a suit. She was glaring at me. Lawyer friend was walking her through the financial statements. "Ma'am," lawyer friend asked, "can you explain this transfer of $5,000 to Elite Catering on November 14th? "It was for a party," she lied. "We checked with Elite Catering," lawyer friend said, sliding a paper across the table. "They have no record of you. However, the bank routing number for this transfer matches an account held by a Mr. Trent Miller." She stayed silent. "Here is the interesting part," lawyer friend continued. "We subpoenaed Mr. Miller's financial records regarding the fraud allegations. It turns out Mr. Miller isn't just your boyfriend. He's also your brother-in-law." I froze. My wife froze. "Excuse me," I said. Lawyer friend looked at me, then back at her. "We found a marriage certificate in Nevada from 5 years ago. Trent Miller is married to your sister, Qley. The sister you said was estranged and living in Europe." The room went silent. "You were funneling my money to your sister's husband?" I asked, my brain trying to compute the level of deceit. She broke. She started sobbing. Not fake tears this time. Real, ugly crying. "They were in debt," she wailed. "Trent owed money to bad people. They were going to hurt Qley. I just needed to pay them off, and then I was going to leave you and go be with him." "Wait," I said. "You were sleeping with your sister's husband and paying his debts with my money?" "It's complicated," she screamed. It wasn't complicated. It was depraved. She had been living a double life, supporting a secret relationship with her brother-in-law while draining my accounts. The ultimatum regarding my friends wasn't about them being a bad influence. It was because Tech Friend had mentioned casually at a barbecue that he was developing a new algorithm to detect anomalies in household spending for a banking client. She got scared he would run it on us for fun. She needed them gone to keep the conduit to Trent open. The revelation about Trent destroyed her credibility completely. Her lawyer looked like he wanted to crawl under the table. The judge had zero sympathy. Because of the proven fraud and the perjury, the divorce decree was swift and harsh. I kept 100% of the house. Alimony was denied completely due to the fraud exception and the short duration of the marriage. The judge ruled that the $55,000 she had stolen/funneled to Trent was her share of the marital assets. She actually owed me the difference, but she had no money, so I got a judgment lien against her future earnings. She was also ordered to pay a portion of my legal fees, which ruins her credit for the next decade. The last time I saw her was outside the courthouse. She looked tired. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by sweatpants. She was living on her sister's couch. Ironic, considering the sister now knew she had been sleeping with her husband. She walked up to me. Don't, I said. Just don't. I made a mistake, she whispered. No, I said. You made a choice. You told me to choose between you and my friends. And you were right. They were a bad influence on your scam. I walked over to her lawyer friend and tech friend were waiting by the truck. We were heading to the mountains for a weekend fishing trip. No reception, no drama, just the guys who saved my life. I looked back at her one last time. She was standing alone on the sidewalk, checking her phone, probably realizing she had blocked the only people who would have ever actually helped her. It's been 6 months. The silence in my house isn't lonely anymore. It's peaceful. My business is thriving because I'm not hemorrhaging cash. I've started dating again, but the first rule is simple. If you don't like my friends, you don't like me. The lesson? When someone gives you an ultimatum to cut off the people who love you, they aren't trying to improve your life. They are trying to remove your witnesses. Trust your gut, trust your boys, and never, ever let someone separate you from your support system.